All right, we got the post-game show rolling. I have got the name of the show correct today. We're going to get Jay Phillips in here in just a couple of minutes from his palatial estate, where Jay is in his pajamas, which is a creepy visual to think about.
Oh, they're very nice pajamas.
I bet they are. Footies? Do you have footies?
Not as far as you know.
Brewer's here. It's Brews Day. Ryan Brewer hanging out with us, former Gamecock. Give you a little mental image of Jay and his jammers. Yeah, exactly. You're welcome.
Did Ryan bring I hate that I'm not with Ryan today. This is probably I'm trying to think. I mean, we've done Halloween shows for no mask today.
No, and it's
you brought it last year.
I did, and
he brings it most year. He brings a different one every year.
Yeah, sad news.
The one you're wearing today, dude.
Right now I'm scaring everybody anyway. But after 11 years, we are not doing the haunted trail this year.
What?
Yeah,
what?
11 straight years.
Is there some kind of legal thing here? What's the deal?
Well, it's on Friday. We're going to Ole Miss.
Oh, you're heading off to Oxford.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You put the trip to Oxford ahead of the haunted trail?
But there's also a caveat in that.
Uh-huh.
Caveat is if the Winthrop Eagles win tomorrow night, they are in the playoffs and they will play during either Halloween or that Saturday. So
congratulations.
Either way,
brother.
the trail is no longer, at least this year. Probably no longer, but at least this year.
Here's my question. Does it have to be Halloween? Can't you do it like the week later?
That actually would be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun? That would be so cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, the little ones aren't going to keep dressing up. They have to get a bunch of adults in there, and that would be fun. But
that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, you could always step it up a notch now.
Yeah, just not do it at the house and do it somewhere and call it a haunted trail and make some money doing it.
Speaking of
another whole
Terry, the truth is, I'm going to borrow from friends here and Joey Tribbiani. The truth is, Ryan got tired of getting hit in the misters.
I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
Well, you are the wrong height to be scaring children.
Especially if they have wands or lightsabers or anything that swings like a bag of candy.
Hey Ryan, how'd it go? Well, really good. It was great. Yeah. Good times. Speaking of that, I'll tell you guys.
Who's that scary? Who's the scary guy? Is like a dead thing in the corner? What's he supposed? No, that's Ryan.
Why is that man laying there holding his lower extremity?
Why is he groaning? Why is he groaning like that? He's supposed to scare me.
Sucks, Mom. It's just rocking back and forth.
I'll give you a quick story. My daughter is, she does music and theater and stuff at the University of Colorado, and she got like a gig for the Halloween season at a haunted house as a quote scare actor is what they call it. It's like a big-time haunted house. So she got hired as a scare actor. She calls me up the other day. Dad, she's all excited. Dad, I went to work. I said, what? I got punched in the face. I'm like, excuse me?
God.
I'm like, what? She goes,
they got a mask on or something, I'm sure.
That's what she goes. She goes, Dad, I scared somebody so bad they punched me in the face.
Right. That was the goal. Not really the goal, but my kids really thought that was if I could get someone so scared they're swinging on me.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, they're doing it right.
That's what they all say. Hey, Jay, all these scare actors were like, way to go, girl. Way to go. You got punched in the face.
It is.
The encouragement of physical violence lives one month a year.
Exactly. It's great to get punched in the face when you're a scare actor, I guess. It was crazy. But she did say she made someone so scared they peed themselves.
I'm sure that's happened multiple times.
Oh, yeah. She was excited. She got a bonus, by the way. She got a raise.
Like I said, it's that would get if you can prove it. If you can prove it. That's one of those. Hey, when you leave here, let me know. Did you defecate in your pants? If you did, let me know which. Please check list of which scare actor did that to you.
That's on next year's resume as she advances out of university haunted houses and into the big time somewhere like L.A. or San Francisco.
I actually scared the poop out of somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've had them run out of their shoes. I've had them leave their candy everywhere, run the opposite direction, run into things. You try to tell them not to run.
Like the back of a baseball card, but instead it's like frightened urinations.
You're going to miss this year, aren't you? You're going to miss this.
The setup's horrible. The breakdown's even worse. But the 2 hours that I get to scare the crap out of little kids and adults is fun. There's no doubt about it.
It's the best, man. It's the best.
And it is more fun for adults, or it's more fun for teenagers who walk in thinking they are not scared. And I'm sure it is for scare actors at a real haunted house too. They pick and choose who they're really going after.
Oh, sure, you can smell it.
There's walkie-talkies. They got the AirPod, ear, hey.
Oh yeah,
this group coming through, they think they're big and bad.
Nail them.
Yeah,
nail them.
Have at them.
All right, my man. All right. Obviously, it's Brews Day. Ryan Brewer in the house with us. Jalen Tart on the master controls. Jay at the palatial Phillips compound, hanging out with us today on the postgame show. All right. If I just do word association real quick, thoughts as you watch the South Carolina-Alabama game. At the end of it, what went through your mind?
I already did my big scream, there. And that wasn't because Jay is in PJs. That was just a tension breaker of, holy cow, what a great game when it came to entertainment value. If you had no dog in the fight, it was a great game. That end of the game was just a sucker punch, like Jay's kid hit me with a lightsaber in the nuts. It was.
Oh my Lord!
Allegedly.
As far
allegedly.
As you know.
It was though, but it just the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. That game had every single aspect of if this would have happened, if the guy didn't do this and that, and I feel for Faison a little bit today. I feel for Lenore's had a great game. I feel for that fumble because that's hurting him inside and out, and it's just the little things there, and the BS holding call on Lenore's great touchdown run. It's things. It's just that. But Alabama had the same thing. They had some things happen if the punt return wasn't muffed and gone in there. That's just some little things there and there. If they threw the ball 2 inches further there, and was it DQ who made
couple times. Oh, that was Kate.
Phenomenal play.
Yeah.
They both teams had those
that might have been the play of the game. That would have gone down as the play of the game.
I want to see a still shot of that actually framed there when I bet he's up in the air,
just like
jump, MJ,
man.
The free throw line.
I've never seen something so pretty like that.
It wasn't right. I need to see the still. Someone has it. I want that still shot of that.
It was a phenomenal play.
But that's what it's just like. Oh, it's such a gut wrenching loss because more. Because now you're like, wait, we are right there. So what happened in the games before? What happened in this? Now you can say we did the same thing with the lead with the two other games, but we're on the cusp. But it's too late to be on the cusp. It's too late to do that. But now it's what do? You look in the mirror and try to figure out a way to battle, inside, enter with yourself and your teammates, and we got to bounce back and find a way to go to a place that's not sold out, I guess, but. A coach that has had our number forever, and a coach that's he's a heck of a football coach, but hopefully he's being sought out by so many people that his mind's on that.
Distractions, baby.
No, but I right now it's like we're there again. So now the optimism's up, but it's like, what are we going to do with it? Was that
Ryan, a couple of years ago,
off on a tangent. That's which one was it?
No, it's good. I think a couple of years ago we did see. I guess was it last season? No, season before. I forget now. But when Lane's name began to really come up for some jobs, and we saw Ole Miss be directly affected by that, I have a hunch that he and they have grown up to maybe move past that. But yesterday, and I wasn't saying like, hey, think of it this way, but Ryan, the one thing you can look at for Carolina is that Kentucky went in there last year earlier in the season, perhaps than this. And maybe you could look back now and go, that's the only difference in Ole Miss missing the playoffs or making the playoffs is that they walked through a game against a team they were clearly more talented and better than. I don't know. You can't use that as a game plan if you're Shane Beamer and the coaching staff, but is this one of those weeks for a team where Ole Miss is coming off of a really nice, hard-fought road victory where their defense, as much as their offense, made a difference relative to South Carolina, saying, man, y'all, that close. How there's so many fine margins of trying to use those emotions for and against you in a game like this. How do those things begin to mesh?
It's tough because it's individually, Jay, because you look at it as a team, as a player, none of that crap should matter. It really shouldn't. It's now, maybe it's worse for South Carolina because you've thought you got to a point where, heck, your students were coming down the field getting ready to rush. And you're like, mentally, you're like, we have an Alabama number 4 team in the nation where we're not supposed to be here, even though we know mentally we should be here. You're sitting here fighting those inner demons of where we are, where we should be, what's going to happen next. And now you got let down, with just a loss. But when you watch the tape, I guarantee there's so many positives that this coaching staff can turn on and say, hey, we have gotten so much better. yes, it's a loss no matter how you look at it, but we have gotten so much better. We have to grow on this and get this to Ole Miss and take it there. Where, if distractions hurt maybe Ole Miss a little bit more, which I don't know how they will. Like you said, I think Lane's grown up, and I think the whole Ole Miss thing is to the point where this has happened before. It's old news. But we'll be fine with this. But it's still, I think, two teams that are going to be maybe battling on two different sides. Ole Miss is definitely on the cusp of saying, hey, in this, we can't let the Kentucky thing happen again. We can't let a team come in here and steal this chance for a playoff berth. And that's a motivation enough, I think, for anybody, especially for fans that should be showing up to this game, which if they're not, I'm happy for that.
Oh, absolutely. Stay away. Stay in the Grove. Yeah. Have fun. Here are two thoughts there. First of all, Ole Miss is highly favored in their last 4 games. Highly favored. But again, the Egg Bowl's goofy. It could go either way. But the other part, too, what you guys are bringing up, Lane, obviously remembering, Jay, that would happen a couple years ago when he was up for the Auburn gig and all hell broke loose and they fell apart. Lane talked to his team about this this week or last week. He sat down. He met with the team when all the rumors started coming out about, Florida and Kiffin. And he sat down with them and said, okay, guys, we're going to talk about this. To your point of learning from what happened a few years ago. So Lane has tried to hit this thing head on and address it so they don't run into what they did a couple years ago. And to your point, Jay, so they don't get distracted to their mission at hand, which is, by the way, to be in the college football playoff.
I think last year, too, he didn't hit the media in the head either with it. He was kind of like humming a little bit about it, like kind of leaving a little bit of a leash out there, little crumbs. Maybe this could happen. This year he went straight off saying money doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm in a good place. Yeah. He's out there. His ex-wife's in town now. Is his son? They're all playing ball there. I'm in a good place. All this stuff.
If your ex-wife's in town, is it still a good place?
He's in a good place. I don't know. I don't know that.
Dave Adair is Facebook friends with Lane Kiffin's ex-wife, so there might be a whole crazy thing going on here. Just saying.
Know. But I mean, he's saying the right things this time, right?
Talk about frightening.
Yeah. Saying the right things. You're not saying the right things, Terry, but Lane Kiffin is. But no, I think it shouldn't matter. And what it matters should be as a Gamecock player when you watch this film and you're saying, we got this now. Something we just got to find that last thing to finish it off. Just finish the daggone game off, and we're fine. And it was one of those positives, fun to watch moments where the O-line's actually blocking some people and moving guys a little bit. And there's holes, and running backs are making plays. And now you can yell at the running backs a little bit, but why you missed that hole? Or you should have, jump cut and hit this one. I still want to see I didn't see the bird's eye of the all-22 view of the 3rd and 1, the first drive when we kicked the field goal. And so I feel like Faison, the butts and hats are in the right spot. If he hits it full blast, he's getting 1 yard. Instead, he jump cuts to the right, runs it, and goes a little bit east and west and gets caught. In terms of 4th down, I think it was a great choice to kick there, which, in hindsight's 2020, you kick on the, instead of going 2-point conversion, and it's a whole nother.
Now chasing points.
Yeah. Whole nother animal out there.
Yeah, a lot of points.
Whole nother things.
It's that game is so filled with what ifs. We could do hours on the what ifs of that game. All right, it's Brews Day. Obviously, our buddy Ryan Brewer in the house. Jay Phillips and Terry Ford, Jalen Tart, Ryan Brewer. It's a post-game show, and we'll talk more with Brew coming back about playing as well as you did against Alabama and carrying that forward, even though you're sitting at 3-5 and a lot of your goals are slipping away. Still, how do you keep the positivity going into Oxford? That's coming up here on the post-game show on The Game.
A long time around these parts. You might have to turn on the heat, but you've also been saying, man, most of the year I could be outside swimming in my pool if I had a pool. Well, it's still a fine time to call the experts at Griffin Pools and Spas and get that backyard dream turned into a reality. They can go, listen, they can do it now. They can build you a pool. They don't mind. Seriously. If you want to make your backyard an oasis, look no further than their incredible range of in-ground or above-ground pools. If you want the sleek look of the in-ground pool in all kinds of shapes, sizes, and designs, they can get that done for you. Or maybe you want something more affordable, but that the family can still enjoy on a regular basis. They can do above-ground pools for you, too. They've got you covered. So many things they can do to make your backyard a vacation spot just for you and your family every single day. Check them out online. They're steps away from the Lake Murray Dam in Lexington, or go to griffinpoolsandspas.com.
This year I really didn't think that it needed to be done, or last year because we had so many guys that had been here and been through it. But then I was thinking, well, maybe with so many new players, just to address it and just explain to them that's what happens. That's a product of them playing really well. When players play really well and assistant coaches do really well, then these other fan bases want the head coach. And so that's just a product of our guys doing really well.
Now, I didn't tell our guys I ain't going anywhere. I just said, hey,
you're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. I'm getting job offers. Thanks, guys.
Getting me a pay raise.
That's Lane Kiffin, who did.
I don't care about money.
No, not at all.
No,
you know what I care
money
about?
Means nothing.
I care about being happy and comfortable. I care about my quality of life.
I mean, if he's saying it that way to them and saying, hey, y'all are playing well, maybe I'll get a pay raise. Y'all get some NIL pay raise. And
Absolutely.
we're all going to be
more
happy.
dough. And to be honest, look, and we're going to get Jay. You have a start bench drop there, Bub?
I do.
All right, we're going to get to that.
Halloween. It's slightly Halloween related, not football related.
We'll get to that in just a second. That's good.
Yeah, I had a football related one, and then I was like, not today.
Especially with Brewer here and the whole Halloween thing. And of course, it's Brewers Day. Ryan Brewer in with us, former Gamecock, on the postgame show. Here's the thing with Lane, and then we'll get to start bench. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole in this, but Kiffin, if you think about it, staying at Ole Miss is a smart play. You're making $9 million already. There, by the way, you're going to get a bump of up to 10, 11, whatever it is, 12 million. They love you. I mean, you're a god there. The Grove fits his personal life. You've got all these, and you don't have crazies like at LSU, crazies like at Florida. Last year, Ole Miss underachieved and didn't make the playoff despite that roster, all the money. There was no screaming, yelling at Kiffin at Ole Miss. There was no hot seats, no, hey, you better get it together. They love that guy.
I wonder if local radio, if anybody was like, man, I can't believe they didn't. Especially, I bet at Kentucky game, they probably went off for a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're like, hey, we're having fun.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
I mean, so you make a ton of money, you got a great quality of life, and they love you, and you don't have to go deal with those weirdos in Baton Rouge or Gainesville. The play to stay at Ole Miss to get more money is not a bad idea in theory. Now, and they're not saying he won't leave, because the ego could take you to Florida or LSU.
It's all about ego. It's all about where he wants to end his legacy, what he wants to do. And it's if he's happy where he is and he's winning 9-10 and has a chance to be in the playoff, like he has the last 2 seasons. He has this season.
It's just saying, man.
Just you're there. Now the issue is if he does go to the playoffs and his expectations do start going higher, are they going to hold him to that the whole time, or you're in the same boat as if you go to Florida, LSU, go wherever.
Well, another one, Jay, you and I didn't talk about this, and I read this today. If they are in the playoff, fellas, that keeps Lane Kiffin coaching Ole Miss into December and through December and into January. That might take him out of it, Jay, unless he walks away from his team to take the LSU or Florida gig. The fact that he's going to be engaged in the college football playoff might wipe him out of a job. Just saying.
Well, if he were Brian Kelly, he'd just leave.
Right.
I think that's an interesting point, and I do not see Lane Kiffin as being a guy who would abandon his ball club for the greener pastures, because I think, Terry, you hit on it. No matter what, Lane Kiffin is going to see, let's just I don't know this for certain, obviously, but let's just say a 20% raise, right? I mean, he's going to get a lot of money. It's going to go from 9. I could see it going from 9 to 12 or something like that.
Sure.
Putting him in it, because there's just going to be competition for his services. So that part helps. I'm with you. I think staying is the better play for him. Ryan, I think you make a good point. And the answer, Ryan, to your question ultimately is yes. If you begin to get into that realm and remain in that realm, especially if we go to 16 and it's that much, I don't want to say easier, but there's that much more access, maybe is the way to say it, to the playoff, then sure, be like, dude, we're paying you a lot of money and we're giving you a lot of NIL, and we're still Ole Miss. They still don't have the budget even that a South Carolina has, or an Arkansas has, or a Kentucky has when it comes to a lot of things. So there's limitations there, but they're doing everything they can and then some, and they're going to do it again. I mean, they'll be passing the hat, Terry. You keep saying about the Grove. I mean, this week some dude's going to go through there at all the tailgates. All right, I need $100 from all of you, and just.
And remember, Jay, that Grove Collective is a phenomenal NIL they have in Oxford.
Yeah, they're doing very well. No, they're really very much punching above their weight, and it's working. And I think this time around they are going to get a playoff berth, and I do think that matters to Florida and LSU. But how much can it matter? If they're both really focused on this man, and it certainly feels right now like they are, then he's the guy. Let's see if Eli makes it. I think one more loss for Mizzou obviously puts them probably out of contention for the playoffs, but it doesn't keep Eli out of contention for one of these two jobs. But the more I said it, I know we talked about it, Terry. I just think the more we talk about what's happening in the Southeastern Conference and who can do what, where, and with what, Eli Drinkwitz makes more sense to leave his current post than Lane Kiffin to leave his. Maybe that's just the way I'm looking at it. I'm sure others have a differing opinion on that.
It's still the same boat, though, Jay. I mean, you're comfortable, right? If it's all about ego, though, because they're the same thing. You're at Missouri, and if you're winning, even that's less 7, 8, 9 games a year. I don't see the pressure for getting on Missouri and the fan base really ripping on him that much either. And he's still in the same thing.
No, they probably won't. They
then.
probably won't. And I think the ego part of that equation is more spot on. And that's something else, Terry, that we talked about in the last few weeks. I get this feeling, man, that Eli wants one of those two jobs, that he sees himself as that, and that maybe Lane Kiffin has already seen himself at those jobs. He's already, let's remember, and we got to, he's already been the head coach at Tennessee, Southern California, and the Raiders.
Yes.
Those 3 strikes.
It is.
The 3.
It is. So now maybe he sees as an older, wiser guy. He's now 50 years old. I think we all see Lane still as that young hotshot who took that Raiders job at 30-something years old.
33 or whatever. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I think now I think he's become a much better leader. I didn't mind that little bit of smack talking with what was going on at the post game and at the OU.
Hilarious.
With that kid running his mouth, and Lane was like, this kid was running his mouth all week, and it was like, hold my beer, kid. It's what he wanted to say, or worse. But he didn't, because he knew he was on national television, which is a real sign of knowing exactly what he did. That was as much marketing as it was emotion for Lane Kiffin. So, again, could be dead wrong, and there's a lot of things that motivate people in a lot of different ways. But I'm looking right now, and I'm starting to think, man, being the head coach at the University of Mississippi for the next decade or so after what he's already done, let's keep it rolling.
I think he's making Ole Miss that sought-after job. That's what he's – my goal when I'm done, if I'm Lane Kiffin, is making where Ole Miss is that next Bama, Florida, whatever job that everyone's like, I want that job. That's his goal right now.
You should, right? You can win big at Ole Miss. Yeah, absolutely.
I win big here, and we make a lot of money here. We got NIL here. Offensively, it's a place you want to go to. I'm going to make this thing the most sought after for recruits, for coaches, for everything. That's my goal right now.
They have talent in that state, and
so
Alabama,
we lose to South Carolina, and then they're going to fire everybody.
Alabama and LSU have long been able to go pluck the very best Mississippi high schoolers to go to one side of the border or the other, and it's going to be Lane's job now to really hold those guys at home. And
absolutely.
I think he can do it.
All right, man. Start, bench, drop. What do you got there, bub?
All right, so Halloween week, and we may do some more of these kinds of things. I saw, based on they had it on the Today Show, the top Halloween candies for the year. They ranked them. Now, I took a couple of them out because, like, Hershey bars are fine, but they're kind of, there's nothing wrong with a Hershey bar. But I'm not going to use that for this. So, start, bench, drop. These are numbers 1, 2, and 5 on the list. All right?
Okay.
All right. Alphabetical order, though, and then I'll give you the ranking of where they are. M&M's. Really, M&M's and then peanut M&M's were, like, both in the top 5.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put any kind of M&M you want. All right?
Okay.
M&M's, Reese's Cup, which was number 1. And Snickers was number 5. But those are going to be our 3.
Okay.
So I'm blending a little bit, and I'm removing Hershey bars.
Okay.
M&M's, Reese's, Snickers, start, bench, drop.
All right, good deal. We'll yap about that coming back, and we'll get Ryan Brewer's thoughts about South Carolina moving forward after the loss to Bama. It is a post-game show, Brews Day, with former Gamecock Ryan Brewer, Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Jalen. We're hanging up here till 6 on the game. All right, we're kicking the post-game show. It's Brews Day. Our buddy, former Gamecock Ryan Brewer in the house. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, Jalen on the master controls here on the post-game show on the game. All right, so you played the sport.
Hey, wait, hold on.
Uh-huh. What you got?
I can still do this. Former Gamecock running back, wide receiver, kick returner, special teams gunner, team captain, husband, father, business owner, soccer coach, and Halloween expert and all-around man about town.
Scary man during Halloween.
I didn't know what Jay was about to do.
I was nervous. What the hell are you doing, Phillips? I was like, oh, my God. I thought he had some big announcement. He was like, hold on, everybody. I got something.
But we got to do it right? Yeah, every week.
I appreciate it. Right. Yeah.
And, Bud, you obviously do that a hell of a lot better than I do. All right, so.
There you go.
So,
like that fast-talking guy when I was a kid. That guy?
Micro Machine guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the guy that, what was the guy when we were kids did the phone book on TV for the Yellow Pages?
I wasn't born yet.
Can't quite do that.
Oh, shut up, Brewer.
Yes, you were.
You were
Ryan,
born.
You're old enough to know
I can't comment on that.
Jalen was not born. Jalen's father might not have been born, but you, sir, Ryan Brewer, were born. Absolutely. Okay,
Jalen,
so
have you ever seen a phone book?
Yes, I have. My grandmother still has one. The Yellow Pages
What year?
20 years ago.
Hey, Jay, he said his grandma.
My grandma.
His grandma. Thanks, Jalen.
You're welcome.
Didn't feel old until now.
Go ahead. Football.
You come off of one of these games where you play really, look, let's just be real. South Carolina, in that 4 quarters, that 6 minutes, outplayed Alabama and should have won the football game.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is. You walk off that field, and look, you know when you outplayed the other guy. And they know. Everybody knows, no matter what the scoreboard says. So you walk off the field knowing you outplayed them. You just didn't make the plays you needed to make at the end or through the game to seal the deal. Now you're coming back to practice. What's up? How do you, because you got 2 ways to go here, Ryan, right? Let's carry that momentum forward. Let's go win some games and salvage the season. Or you can go the other way, which we know is not good.
Right. So you hope that Saturday night you let all your frustrations out. Whichever way you do it as a player. I mean, I don't know. I don't care what you do. Mm-hmm. Let it out. You got to come off that field. If you're not pissed off, you're not playing the right sport. You're not in the right game to begin with. So you let everything off, let frustrations out. They go to work back on Sunday, and that's when you got to go in there and realize, what am I working for? What I do all this off season, all this hard work that I did. What is it for? And how do I not let that go to waste? Why did I work my ass off all this time? All these, hopefully these social media posts and all this stuff they do, that's great. Hopefully they're all true. Mm-hmm. How hard I'm working. Right. I'm not just posing. Mm-hmm. Pushing that weight around. I'm not just posing, pulling those sleds. I'm not just posing, sweating in the rain at Fort Jackson, what I did in the morning and sweating and battling with my brothers left and right trying to figure this out. I'm not a poser. I'd worked this hard. I worked my ass off to get to this spot. Now I got to figure out how to make it. We're a 3-5 team. This crap can't happen anymore. I don't care who we're playing. I don't care if they're all number 1 coming out of here. You better act like Coastal's number 1 coming out of here. So it's time right now. Everything that I've worked for, everything I've done in the offseason, coming up here, I got to prove it now on the field that I'm worth the crap. That's how you got to do it.
Ryan, do you have a specific remembrance of a time from your playing days where this happened?
Every game in 1999.
Yeah. There was a lot of them for sure.
We were 0-11, Jay. And we literally had the whole offseason. We did not want to have that feeling again. Didn't want to have that gut-wrenching feeling of the pain of being a loser, of being called a loser by your coach, being called a loser by your fans, your peers, hell, some family members, calling you a loser. Didn't want to have that feeling anymore. So how do you get rid of that? You work your tail off and you prove that what you can do out there. We have a solid football team right now. We have athletes. You see that, and not just spurts in this game. We saw it throughout the whole game. Like Terry just said, I think the 60 minutes, we won majority of that game. So now how do you prove it to next week? You got to go out there and play even harder. You got to go out there and play another team that thinks they're better than you and prove that you're not a loser. And I said, Coach Holtz right now will be calling us all losers. I mean, it happened. It to our face.
Well, and to that point, and we had this conversation with you a couple weeks ago about the room and the leadership in the room and the ownership of leadership in the room with this football team. And this is when, if you got guys in there, this is when those guys have to also man it up and be like, okay, we gave the A and B scenario the direction you go here. You got to make sure you got guys in there that are pushing to make sure you go down road A, correct?
Yeah. And we've talked about, I mean, and I'll say this. We talked about the captains a lot, about leaders a lot last week. I don't know if there were specific one or two people that did anything, but the energy on that sideline was night and day from Oklahoma game.
You were ready to go down there and start hitting people the Oklahoma sideline.
Yeah, because there was no energy. There was energy. Now it means a lot more when you're winning. Mm-hmm. And you're hyped up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it was night and day, the energy level on the sideline. When they came off the sideline after good or bad play, they were all together, and you could tell there was a lot more. Now, coaches had a lot more energy as well, but you could tell it meant more. Now, bring it up again. Now you're at a hostile environment, away from your fans. You got to bring that noise even more.
Ryan, when you look at the ball game too, Shane talked about making some offensive tweaks, some offensive changes, and I'm curious from your perspective. And I still made some points yesterday that I felt there were a couple of moments. One ended up well, one did not, where there still seemed to be a lack of creativity. But did you get a feeling that some of the things that Carolina changed offensively, or tweaked at least offensively, may have contributed to that, relative to just wanting to go win a football game, relative to it being Alabama in the house, and we know what that means? Where do you kind of blend those things in? But most importantly, what you saw that was different and maybe more productive offensively.
I think the whole literal 10-play thing's kind of getting skewed a little bit. I think it's the first drives and what he does, it's like finding out what we can do and not do against this team is crucial. I really liked I thought the play calling was a heck of a lot better. You had some kind of quarter rollout plays early in the game. Sellers rolled to his left side, just kind of like a quick roll, and stopped and fired. And that just that little bit of move in the pocket and giving us some time and seeing that field and not having to read the whole field, I thought was a big deal. You saw a little bit, like I said earlier, the push of the O-line. We're still going to run power. We're still going to run zone up the middle. We're still going to do some counters, and it's going to look like we're running the ball right up the middle type plays. And those are going to happen. They need to happen, not over and over with failure, but they need to happen with some push and give some confidence, and especially goal line situations or short yard situations. You got to win that. I think, Jay, what you see too is when you do have the lead, you're not trying to do anything too special either to turn the ball over and say, let's get, fancy all of a sudden and do something. We're winning this ball game with what we're doing. We thought, I didn't think 22 points was going to win the ball game coming into it. Right. And at that moment, it was. So it's kind of like, hey, let's find a way to, sustain this and do that now. I would have loved to see what would happen if Sellers didn't fumble there and see what kind of play calls they do with, trying to 2-minute drill down the field. Would there be some more flair to the offense? But all in all, Jay, I thought I wasn't like overly impressed, but I thought it was a heck of the right move. Like we're going the right direction is what I'm trying to say. With the offense.
And do you think did that boost the kids?
Anytime you're getting positive yards on there, yeah, I think so. I think, and you're scoring touchdowns now, and you're putting the big play to Harbor. A play action, a quick step back, and you don't have to. But that's the funny part. It was a 54-yard, something like that, touchdown.
54-yard post.
I think it was a quick play action. Sellers took 2.5 steps back and then launched it, and he still underthrew a guy for 54 yards. Still underthrew him. Right. Like that's how fast he's getting down. It doesn't look like he's going, but he's going.
I know.
And so it wasn't a five-step drop. Normally for yardage or a play for that yardage, you have to get back there and give them time to create, but you don't have to. So that I'd like to see plays. Obviously, everyone likes to see plays to Harbor more. It is fun to see the brother-to-brother connection though going on.
It was cool, wasn't it? All right, we'll hop back. Get Ryan's opinion on letting Bama score at the end. We'll see what Ryan thinks of that. Also, Jay start bench drop. We'll reset that as well. Post-game show. Jay and Jalen, former Gamecock Ryan Brewer, and some goober named Terry Ford. We go up until 6. Ryan's here till 4 on the game.
about the folks at US Brick and their brand new exterior design center. It is the first of its kind in Columbia. It helps you make your selections very simple. It's designed for professionals, but it's open to the public and homeowners, self-builders. You can get in there too. So really, don't be afraid to say, oh, do they want me in there? Yes, they want you in there. What do they have? How about their massive isokern fireplace? It is absolutely fantastic. Terry and I were just a few feet away from that when we were doing the show the other day. Stone quarried here in the Carolinas, and it's just amazing. You can do things like this at your house. Hardscapes, walkways, patios, fully customizable pergolas for anything that you want in the backyard to just really nicen things up. US Brick is 90 years old. They've been building and maintaining things right here in Columbia and across the South for years and years. The Design Center ready to help you out at 300 UG Street. Bring your designer, bring your plans, see, feel, touch it at US Brick.
All right, we are hanging out with our buddy Ryan Brewer. It's Brews Day with former Gamecock Ryan Brewer. Jay and Terry and Jalen, post-game show. Before we get into, were you down with that decision to let Bama score to get the ball back? Ryan Brewer, I mean, you're here because you like hanging out with Jay and I and Jalen. But you also have this great sponsor called Ryan Brewer Fence that enables you to be here. So talk about Ryan Brewer Fence.
Well, you all have been fortunate enough to let me, sponsor this segment. Yeah, we should probably do every segment, but I think this is one way. Hey, how do we get you in here? So, no, I love being here with y'all, but definitely being able to brag about the fence company I've had for 20 years with all the great employees out there, even in this god-awful weather right now, putting up fence. They're just out there, busting out right now. We're doing a big job in Holly Hill where I think all my trucks are getting stuck in the mud right now, but they're still out there doing it. I keep getting texts, hey, we got another one stuck, but they're out there pushing and trying to get better. But go to ryanbrewer.net for any of your fencing needs, from commercial and residential fence, ornamental, chain link, wood, privacy, vinyl. We do it all. If you can think of it, dream it up. We can put it in your backyard or for your property. Just ryanbrewer.net and check us out on social media.
Yeah, I had my car stuck
Terry,
in the mud.
ask me what I'm looking at right now.
What?
Ask me what I'm looking at right now through my game room.
What?
Outside,
I know your room is. You're looking at a nice, our Fripp privacy fence right now. Little flat top wood fence.
And you knew that was the Fripp, right, Jay?
I did, because we went onto the website and Mrs. Phillips was like, I want that. and then they came and built it.
And Jay was smart and went, yes, dear. That's what we're going to get.
It is our, not the Cadillac or whatever you want to say, nicest one when it comes to aesthetics, I believe.
Sweet. Tell you real quick, I got my car stuck in the mud New Year's Eve about 4:30 in the morning. I was at a party and I backed up and I went into some guy's yard and got my car stuck in the mud in his yard, and 20 people later pushing it out. Guess.
They have a fun party there.
Yeah. My dad wasn't happy when the bill came to fix the guy's yard.
We were smart today, and the concrete trucks did not come, because we're putting about it's like 6,000 feet of fence in Holly Hill right now, and so we're just trying not to get it. Trying to keep pushing ahead in this weather.
Oh, man. All right. So Ryan Brewer, South Carolina, and you've heard the strategy, and if someone doesn't know, Shane, basically the strategy was if Alabama gets the first down and they advance the ball deep into South Carolina territory, just let them go and score so you can get the ball back and try to tie it. If not, and really, Bernard screwed up. The Alabama wide receiver should have went out of bounds. You knee it 3 times, kick the gimme field goal, and walk away with a win. Of course, you got to make the field goal. But Bernard scored the touchdown, so South Carolina got the ball back. Obviously, it didn't work. Do you like that strategy? You're like, hell no, we're going to stop them and block the field goal. Where are you at?
It depends on where the ball is. Where this scenario, if it's that's tough. Honestly, I was like, man, they should have at the point of attack when it happened. I wish you would have tackled him. Obviously, now looking back, I wish you would have tackled him just to see what just to see maybe we had a chance to block the field goal because I know what happened. I have already seen the crystal ball. I've seen what's happened, so it's easy to say this. Hey, let's tackle him and see if we can't hold him for block a field goal, missed a field goal. This guy hasn't made X amount of field goals, whatever. Now, to be able to coach that and know that strategy, and for DQ Smith to say, wait a minute, he's got a first down and not
let him go.
That's. In my mind, I can't believe he did that because there's no way in your animal football instincts you're going to say, no, I'm going to kill him. Oh, nope, I got to let him go because he's past the first down marker. Like that, I thought that was very intelligent player. Yeah. If coach told you to do that, that's so, hats off for him to be able to do that. And now you put the ball into, your best playmaker's hands who it falls out of his hands, but you give him a chance and you're giving yourself a chance no matter what. You put the ball in their kicker's feet. It's not really on you. Is the kicker going to mess up? And blocking a kick is not the easiest thing to do, especially a field goal at short range. So, all in all, yeah, I think that the fact that they did that, you put it in 16's hands, I think that was a good call. Except that now that I know that we fumbled, I think it was a horrible call, and I wish they would have stopped him and tried to block the field goal. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Well, we said it was like 3 kinds of poison yesterday, and you just have to hope you take the one that isn't quite as deadly and see what happens at the end. Plus, then you get the ball at the 9-yard line. You got to go 91 yards.
Oh, yeah, then the whole squib kick and muffing it and then go in the end zone. And, you got to return that, and that's tough. Because if anything, you say put in 16's hands, if Harbor gets the ball cleanly there, I like to see what his chances are anytime he has a return. And now he can't go east-west very well, but he can go north-south very well. So you've got to have a lane and let him go 4,000 miles per hour and try to hit that. But just dropping the squib there, not cleanly.
And the other part of that
was
squib,
a huge deal of the whole thing.
When that squib hits, I mean, again, we forget something. Nice kick.
Yeah.
Because that squib could have gone out of bounds and you get great field position. That thing, when it bounced, went to the Harbor's left instead of Harbor's right.
Coulda, shoulda, wouldas, man.
Exactly.
The one big.
All right, my man, we appreciate you.
Get Brew to do a start, bench, drop. M&M's, Reese's, Snickers.
We got
M&M's starting because I love my peanut butter M&M's and Snickers. No, Reese's, then Snickers.
You got that?
Right, there you go.
All right, appreciate you, my man. Thank you, bud. Hour 2
Go Gamecocks.
coming up.
Cato's Power Equipment ready to help you out across the fall season here in Columbia. Yeah, you'd probably rather be watching football, but you still got to do a little yard work. With the leaves and the straw falling down, well, hey, get it all done with the power of steel right now at Cato's. The BR800X backpack blower is $50 off. Now it's just $5.99. Also, the Steel MS250 chainsaw, now just $3.79. What a great time to take advantage of some big savings, get the yard work done quicker. Maybe you've got a few tree limbs where you could turn that chainsaw into something that get you some firewood, whether you got a fire pit out back or the fireplace inside. You can visit the newly renovated showroom where you can see and feel the thing. Pick them up and see, yeah, I want to go use this. That's exactly what I did when I got my stuff at Cato's. They have all kinds of brand new, exciting steel products to keep your turf game day ready. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, and always online to learn more. CatosPowerEquipment.com. They are Columbia's premier steel dealer.
Post-game show. Terry Ford, Jalen, Jay, once again, just laying around doing nothing. How you doing, bud?
You know what? I'm hanging in there, and if I may, real quick, I don't mind all the ribbing. I'd rather smile and laugh through it, but I would like to give everybody a quick update. Had a surgery on Friday, and came out of that pretty well. As I told you, Terry, and you well know, you're being fully debriefed. First step in a really long journey. We have set our appointments now to head up in a couple of weeks to the Duke Cancer Center. And my 23-year-old daughter has been hanging out here a little bit with us. My wife's out of town, and she's already looked at me like, "Dad, your doctors are awesome." So we already know who we're going to see. We don't know what we're going to go through yet, but we already know who we're going to see, and I'm already encouraged, by that. And Terry, I really do mean it. Whether it's all you guys at work. The countless numbers of you that have hit me on Twitter and Facebook, to my closest friends who keep updated on hit me on text and just want to know what's up. I cannot say thank you enough. Please don't stop. Keep them coming. All the prayers, all the hugs, all the well wishes, whatever it is that y'all got and you want to send my way and my family's way, more importantly. Please continue to do that. I want to say today a real special thank you to our Terry, two guys that we couldn't do our jobs without, the great Charles Bloom and the great Steve Fink. They stopped by the house today to say hey and drop a little something off and more importantly just give me some handshakes and pat on the backs and smiles and well wishes, and that meant a lot to me. And they brought a nice note from Jeremiah Donati, and I thank the folks at Carolina who are part of our extended family. And of course, I don't hide who I pull for. I don't hide that I've been a Gamecock my whole life. I don't hide that I went to the University of South Carolina, that I met my wife at the University of South Carolina, that we have a daughter who just graduated a year or so ago from the University of South Carolina. It is as much a part of my life as anything else in this city. So I thank Charles and Steve for coming to say hey, and to Jeremiah's reached out, Shane has reached out, Coach Maneri, Coach Staley. That means the world to me because they don't have to, and I know they do that for a lot of folks, and it proves what kind of people they are and how much this community rallies around each other when this matters. And now it's my turn, and I've rallied for people before. I can't wait to rally for people again. And I humbly appreciate what everybody has done. Again, we got a long way to go, but again, step one was complete this weekend, and I'll be back in the studio ASAP. I've been told, and I'm listening, not only Terry to the doctors, but to the real boss.
That's right.
And that's Mrs. Phillips.
That's right.
Who has been through this herself, and is making sure that I take it easy on her terms. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'll be back in there with you guys hopefully in a couple days. But it once again, it means the world to me and to my wife and my girls to have so many reach out and to have so many looking out. And I told you guys yesterday, the two of you that are in studio right now, I appreciate you having my back. It's nice to be able to do this. I'm glad we have the capability to do this. But I would rather be up there with you, despite what you may believe, and not necessarily in my, as far as you know, footy pajamas. But here we are, and we'll all get there, and I'll keep everybody updated. But again, we have an idea of what's going on. So a couple weeks from now, I may miss a few days as we head up to Durham, but going to a world-class center up there, and again, already know what kind of doctors I'm going to be working with. So I'm encouraged, and let's pray for a good outcome here soon enough, man.
All right, two things. One, we mess with you because We love you, and plus, honestly, it's fun to mess with you. And two,
yes.
We're obviously pulling for you. We're always going to be here for you, no matter what you need, my friend. Second thing, what did they bring you? Because I knew this was coming. They hit me up last week asking about your shirt size, and I was sworn to secrecy. What'd you get?
So they were very nice. They brought a really nice Under Armour Gamecock sweatshirt, a coach's shirt, I would call it. It's got the old Joe Morrison script on it. It's black polo, so short sleeve, but I guess I call that a coach's shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And a really cool kind of throwback T-shirt.
Nice.
And a flag, like I guess that I could either hang here in my game room. I already have some stuff in here that's very Gamecock, but I may find a way to either trade out or that you could. This is like one of those yard flags, I suppose, too.
Okay.
So yeah, and what was the other? Oh, a hat, a cap. As
Sweet.
David would say, I need to call it a cap.
Call it a cap.
Nice.
But it's a very. I almost. It's hard to describe the material. It's almost like I likened it to like a koozie. It's kind of squishy, but it's my daughter said, "No, Dad, it's just an Under Armour workout hat." I was like, "Oh, okay." But I don't know that I had seen one of these. Maybe I'm just old. But it's pretty cool. So
very cool.
It was very, again, very nice of them. Very, very nice of them. And I really do appreciate it because they didn't have to do that, and it means a lot.
See, what we were going to do, but you had to be at home these last couple of days, which totally understand. Because Charles hit me up last week about your shirt size. I said extra small, and so I handled that.
If you had hit Haney, he'd have told you it's medium. Medium. Although now I've grown out of medium. I am a little larger these days, but that's for different reasons.
And it was funny because I saw Charles in the press box Saturday, and we had set up. They wanted to bring it here and give it to you on the air. Was the goal.
Right.
And then you had to stay home these last couple of days. So, but yeah, we were going. I said to him, I said, Tuesday's the good day. Come on in, and we can surprise them on the air. It'll be a lot of fun. But then you had to stay home the last couple of days. So we had a plan because we wanted to make you cry on the air.
Oh, well, it would have worked.
Absolutely, it would have worked. So
it would have worked.
Anyway, yeah, I appreciate Charles and those
guys. I brought him here to the house, and you, Terry, you've been in. We have a really fun game room in our house with just it's almost like a TGI Fridays kind of theme that we wanted here. We got stuff as almost as much space as we can cover, and I've got some autograph pictures and movie memorabilia and albums and movie posters and stuff like that. So I brought him in here and showed him where I'm broadcasting from, and even showed him this. I've got a framed Gamecock thing that was in my great grandfather's office. It's
nice.
It was. I always loved it when I was a little kid, and I remember he didn't die until I knew him. I mean, he died when I was 8. This is my mom's grandfather, and I remember seeing it in his office, and my grandmother kept it because I remember telling my grandmother as a little kid, like, "Can I have that?" And she made sure that when he died and they cleaned his office out, that she kept it, and I remember it being exchanged and given to me when I was in high school just to make sure. And I never really had a place for it because I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to have it in my college place because I didn't want some dumbass to, break it or whatever, right? So finally here at the house, we've put it up. But I let them know that I don't know how old that thing is, but it's older than all of us.
Very nice. Yeah,
so that was cool.
Yeah, seriously.
But again, thanks to Charles and Steve.
Absolutely,
that meant the world to me.
Yeah, we appreciate the guys. Charles, Steve, Jeremiah, the whole crew, Shane, Dawn. Coach Maneri, everybody who's reached out to you, when we do appreciate them very much, and not just Jay, but all of us here over at the game. All right, we'll pop back in here, and we're going to get some Shane Beamer sound from today's presser. The problem with finishing games has reared its ugly head again in 2025. Let's hear the coach talk about that next. It's Jay Phillips, Jalen Tart, Terry Ford, postgame show. We're running until 6 here on the Game and the Game Network.
Love telling you about our friends at Integrated Media. Speaking of the room I'm broadcasting from today, Integrated Media setup in here is second to none. I can watch so many great things on the weekends, especially when there's multiple football games going on. But whatever you want, whether it's one room, whole house, an outdoor setup so you can watch all your favorite games and enjoy your pool or your grill or whatever's going on outside with equipment meant to be out there, Integrated Media can get that done for you. Now's a great time to call them, too, because we've got playoffs coming, college football playoffs, the pro football playoffs soon enough, right? Not rushing our lives away. I know it's still October, but get ahead of that now. And, of course, all your favorite holiday specials and so much more going on here for the coming months and for many, many years to come. 803-948-8327, whatever you want in home theater. Nobody better to work with than my great friends at Integrated Media.
All right, we are rolling the post-game show here on the Game Network. Jay Phillips, Jalen Tark, Terry Ford hanging out as we roll till 6. Shane Beamer talking to the media today, obviously about a variety of topics. Well, we're going to, I guess, hone in on the first one is the learning how to finish or not being able to finish games this year. You've had 3 instances. The Missouri game, you got the lead in the fourth quarter. LSU, it's a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. You got the lead in the fourth quarter versus Bama. You're 0 for 3 in those games. You could not finish them and get W's. And here's Shane Beamer talking about the issue of finishing games. Hit it, Jalen.
No, I mean, I think it's something that can be taught. You hope it clicks. I hope it's something that you develop. Every day in practice, we make a big deal about the last period of practice, that it's the fourth quarter and we got to go finish. We did it even more so today. Every off-season workout in the summertime or in the winter, we're talking about finishing. So it's something that we emphasize all the time, and we've been a good team in the fourth quarter since I've been here as the head coach, and it's maddening that we haven't been better this year. The fact that if you can say there woulda, coulda, shoulda, I get all that, but there's 2 games, SEC games, that we led going into the fourth quarter, Missouri and Alabama, and we're not able to finish. LSU, it's 17-10, and we got a fourth down in plus territory, and we don't get it, and we don't finish that drive. I mean, look, everybody, there's a handful of plays every game, but you just sit there and say to yourself, man, if we just finish in the fourth quarter against Missouri and Alabama, we're sitting here with the same record after 8 games that we had last year. And if we finish against LSU, and I know all those teams, I'm not taking anything away from them. It's just the fact that we had the lead and we didn't finish. So it's a mentality. It's a execution. I don't think it's I know it's not from a lack of effort or a lot of mistakes. It's just, tip your cap to the other team. I mean, Alabama was on the road and in a hostile environment and found a way to win that game in the fourth quarter the other day. And Missouri at home never flinched, and they found a way to win that game in the fourth quarter. And you look at all of these games, I mean, Ole Miss, a lot of their games, Lane talked about it, I think after his game the other day, that, against Georgia, they're beating Georgia going into the fourth quarter. And then Georgia outscored them something like 17-0. And then the other day against Oklahoma, they're losing going into the fourth quarter. And then they outscored Oklahoma 9-0. And, dominating the fourth quarter is one of the things of how we, win the game, plan to win, and we haven't done a good enough job of it.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, that's the thing is you've had your shot, and even if you won 2 out of the 3, you're 5-3 instead of 3-5. Heck, even if you would have won one of them, you're looking at yourself in a better position to get yourself those 2 wins to get to a bowl game, man. But you just haven't. Sure. You have not finished in any of these 3 games when you had opportunities.
No, and you and I, we mentioned it often. I think we probably talked about it more yesterday, I think, in the context of LSU than South Carolina. But tell me how you lost. And the reason Shane is here is because this team wasn't just losing. Sometimes this team was getting beat. And that right now, at least under Shane, in my opinion, is not happening. Losing is losing, and I'm not here to sugarcoat. But I am here to differentiate between getting just your doors blown off and having no energy and enthusiasm relative to playing hard and coming up short for whatever reasons, be they self-inflicted, be they talent or lack thereof, play calling. There's a host of things, but they are little differences, Terry, and it's why I remain supportive of this head coach and what he wants to do from an overall vision for the program standpoint. There's going to have to be some things done to erase those mistakes, or to at least minimize those mistakes. You can't ever you don't throw perfect games, right? I mean, that just doesn't happen. But to at least get yourself in better position. And I know you and I did talk about this yesterday. One of those needs to be, for the first time, really, getting an offensive line that is more than capable of doing what needs to be done. And now you have a truly proven Southeastern Conference offensive line coach. And I don't want to dismiss some of the things that Lonnie or Greg have done up front, but in my estimation, and from those I've spoken with about this, Sean is better at it. I'm just going to say it. There's no reason to sugarcoat. And it has to start there, Terry. It has to start there with sustaining those drives, with getting those 3rd and 4th and shorts. I'm glad Shane goes for it more on those 4th and shorts. I think it instills confidence in his players in a way that his predecessor did not want to do. You'd like to make more of them, and when you don't make it, people get hacked off. I get it. But you can't make it if you don't go for it. And so I'd rather continue with that line of thinking and with that way of playing. But you got to be able to finish the job. And I think it starts there. There's other things we can talk about, not only today, but obviously in the coming weeks and months. But it's that's what makes it hurt, because you're that close. Not like before, where again there were some games where you're like, what the hell are we doing? You know, right. I don't see near as much of that right now. I do think that's encouraging. I get it. Losing's losing. At 1 point, 100 points. But when you step back and try to measure where things are, I think you see how close they are, and I think you can rather easily forget it for a second too, Terry. Just about the recruiting aspect, because I will never let go of that. You'll never let go of that. Shane will never let go of that. No college coach or fan will ever let go of that. Recruiting is always job one. Always, always, always job one. But this team has proven that it can play with everybody in this league. It's played with LSU for 2 years. It's played with Alabama for 2 years. You beat Clemson last year. You know, you beat A&M last year. You beat Missouri last year. You've now really kind of taken it to Kentucky, who for a while had your number. You've passed them again. You hadn't seen Tennessee or Florida in a couple of years, but you know, when you have, you played with them. You know you've got enough talent to stay in these games. You want more, right? Be selfish, be greedy. You want more talent. But I think this is more now as much about how you tweak what you're asking these kids to do as much as the kids that you have trying to play.
Yeah, to the point of that is, Chris Clark I think it was last week, did a really nice deep dive on the offense in Shane's tenure. And there's a clear issue when it comes to sacks, among the worst in the country over the last 5 years, pressures among the worst in the country, you know, running the football, besides last year, among the worst in the country. And we saw last year they were fourth in the SEC. And that's really, look, not to be mean, that was really due to Lenora Sellers' escapability and Rocket Sanders' breaking tackles ability. Not so much because the offensive line was Joe Moore worthy. So I guess if you look at these numbers in totality, not everything, but a large part of this is if you get better offensive line play, how much better are you going to be as an offense, and how much are you going to be better are you going to be as a football team? But it all starts getting the offensive line right.
Yeah, and like I say, I think they've taken a very, very good first step in that with Sean, because again, Sean's track record and resume in this league, at this school, but in this league, when they were at their peak, think about it. I mean, when they were at their peak, who was coaching that offensive line? You know, and to your point as well, man, and I think you and I mentioned this morning in our meeting, you know, and I'm not here to defend play callers that weren't popular, but I don't know if the most creative play callers, right? The most visionary play. Again, Bill Walsh could be calling your plays, but if your plays are blown up within 2 seconds, it's not going to matter, right? And I hope people know who Bill Walsh is if you're of a younger generation. Like Jalen, do you know who Bill Walsh is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Just checking. Just checking.
Just want to be sure.
Or if you would have said, hey, you know who Sid Gilman is? You know who Paul Brown is? We're old farts.
Seriously, no matter who your play caller is, if your play is getting blown up, it may not make as much of a difference. So that it's got to start there, and I think that start is happening. You know, what it means for the rest of 25, Terry, I don't know. But moving ahead with some creativity and some solid line play, I still like what this coach wants to do.
Yeah, and the next step is, you know, the play calling and the creativity. And that's, you know, if you start and get your offensive line fixed, then you can see where everything else is at, right? But, you know, because, again, sometimes, like, we talk about this, Dow Loggins. I remember we talked to Dow Loggins at Birdies with Beamer, and we asked him, so the offensive line issues you had, you know, your first year as the OC, how did that handicap or handcuff you as a play caller? Because it handcuffs you a lot. This is not to say that you can't be frustrated with the play calling this year, because raise your hand if you have been, and we're all putting our hand. I just tore my labrum. But, you know, part of this is also if the offensive line is losing, to your point, it doesn't matter. You could go. We could do a seance and bring back Mike Leach, and he could call plays. And if the offensive line can't block, it doesn't matter, right? It Just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mike Leach might have believed in seances.
Hey, wouldn't it be great you do that and he shows up in the pirate gear?
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Or what if my offense was Mike Leach and Bill Walsh?
Oh, that would be awesome.
That'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, you score 100 points a game.
Mike Leach
wouldn't even matter.
He had one of the greatest quotes about balance. He said, if you're trying to throw it 50% of the time and run it 50% of the time, like, what do you say? You're stupid 50% of the time. About throwing it. I mean, about running it.
Yeah.
He's like, run it, whatever. You run it all you want. I'm going to throw it 100 times. But, yeah, I mean, it's just that's where it's got to be, Jay. It's just, it starts, and look, Sean Elliott is well decorated. And if he can get in there, and did we see increments of improvement last Saturday? I think so. And you said something that's really important. There's not but so much you can do at this point in the middle of a season to totally turn that barge around, right? So what you're looking for is just little things, little improvements like, everybody snapping on the right count, and, maybe some other little things when it comes to blocking and things of that nature. But to think it's going to all of a sudden become phenomenal in a week or two is just, you can't think that.
Yeah. So, again, long term, let's see. But we did see a few incremental things last week, and they did have their opportunities. So, again, I'm not here to say, hey, it's all sunshine and roses, because it's not. But I just think those couple, and you and I were talking about it too. Man, if your offensive line was like in the 50th, 60th percentile, how much different? And I know that Will Helms has done some looks at that. I know that is kind of a negative or a downer, but I mean, you're not asking to be super elite yet. You're just asking for, right around average. And if you were right around average, boy, what a difference that would be making. So
absolutely,
we'll see where it goes. Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
All right, post-game show. We will get to more conversation that Shane Beamer had with the media today here on the post-game show with Jalen and Jay.
And hey.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear the Dodger guy that nicknamed somebody Mr. World Series? Is it like the new Mr. October?
Oh, let's get to that next. We're going to make a little we haven't gotten to this yet. We need to get to what happened last night at Dodger Stadium. It was insane.
Reggie is Mr. October, Pitbull is Mr. Worldwide, so somebody is now Mr. World Series. That's sort of a blend, right?
And yeah, absolutely. And real quick, start, bench, drop.
Start, bench, drop. M&M's, Reese's, Snickers, 3 of the top 5 rated Halloween candies for 2025, according to the Today Show, and I think they got it from like Food and Wine magazine or something. But
yeah, because I always like to have a good Snickers with my wine. Hey,
sure.
Who doesn't like to dip their Snickers in their wine? All right, I already know mine. How about you, Jay Phillips?
Yeah, starter for absolutely for my starter. Absolutely for my starter. The bench drop is going to be tough.
And I love all 3. How about you, Jalen? You know your 3?
Yeah, I got my 3.
All right, cool. All right, we'll jump back in here. Let's talk about the goings-on at Dodger Stadium that lasted until almost this show started. We'll get into that next here on the post-game show with Jay and Jalen and Terry Ford on the game. All right, check on traffic. Right now, we got construction. I know, stunning and shocking. There's construction. That never happens. But we do have our typical long-term construction. Malfunction Junction, I-126 there, where right where Hugh G is taking you in and out of town. We have the long-term construction there as well. So, again, just kind of maneuver your way around it. You know it's there. You know which way to go, so you can avoid it if you can. And if you're not, hopefully you have enough gas to get through this mess as we go through our typical rush hour here in the Midlands. We'll get you caught up on any of the accidents that happen here in the next half hour. We'll get to that as we check the traffic, sponsored by Wetzel's. We'll get back in here, talk about what happened last night in the World Series, and also take some of your calls, 803-404-6100. Postgame show. Jay Phillips, Jalen Tart, Terry Ford hanging out with you as we cook this sucker till 6 here on the game. Oh, we didn't get the highlight over the bumper because we were so busy, Jalen, with the traffic. Do me a favor, Jalen. Hit me cut 9 from last night's World Series.
Here's a payoff. A breaking ball is drilled to left center field. Slicing towards the gap. And off the warning track. Up against the wall. Hernandez headed home. There is no throw. It's a ringing double from Ohtani. His third extra base hit of the game has made it 4-3.
Shohei Ohtani last night got you to extra innings, Jay Wood. 2 home runs for Ohtani, 4 extra base hits. Ohtani was so dominant last night. John Schneider, the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, no, that was not the guy from Dukes of Hazzard. John Schneider intentionally walked Ohtani the rest of the game.
Yeah, I know, man, and basically has admitted we're going to do it again tonight. So if you're watching tonight at the bottom of the first, expect Shohei to just go ahead and give L.A. A runner on. I'm torn on that particular feeling. I want to come back around to that too, because obviously last night again, Mr. World Series was not Shohei Ohtani, but
no.
Do we have the game winner?
No, I think Tyler was asleep by then, so we don't have the home run.
That game winner was insane.
I fell asleep in the 10th, and it was already late, man. So, that it went. I woke up this morning, and I was like 18, and then they didn't score. I mean, nobody scored until Freddie hit a solo. But Freddie Freeman last night, in the bottom of the 18th inning, he was the leadoff hitter in that inning. Worked a full count, hit a bomb too. Mm-hmm. But it's the second year in a row that he has had a walk-off home run in the World Series. He is the first player in the history of Major League Baseball to have multiple walk-off home runs in a World Series. And Terry, I told you, I heard this morning. Paulie Paps had it on the Dan Patrick Show. Freddie Freeman now is the all-time leader in home runs per plate appearance in World Series history, between his home runs and time in Atlanta and Los Angeles. Think about that, because
it's crazy.
And he was like, it's
insane.
He's got more than Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle and all the great years that those men had with so many World Series appearances. But in terms of plate appearance, home runs per plate appearance, Freddie Freeman now has the best average of that. Now, obviously, Babe and Mickey played, they played in the World Series every year.
I was going to say, it felt like they were in 50 World Series, exactly.
Yeah. So I get that the numbers get skewed, but just I'm really happy for Freddie. Saw a lot of people saying, "Thank you, Braves, for letting Freddie Freeman go."
And some people were like, I hate you, Freddie Freeman. Like,
yeah, I don't. Look, Freddie did not want to leave Atlanta.
No.
I don't have. He did not want to leave Atlanta. I know he's from L.A. But I very genuinely believe that he and his family were very, very happy as members of the Atlanta Braves. And Freddie's still going to go down as one of the greatest Braves of all time.
I mean, he played most of his career, yeah.
Yeah, now he's just going to go down as one of the greatest Dodgers, too. I mean, lucky him, man. Look, the Dodgers offered him more money and one more year of it. I'm probably doing that, too. This is still business.
Yeah, remember, Jay, we were doing the halftime show when that was going on. And, again, the Braves had a line. Because when Freddie went to L.A., let's be fair, he's 32 years old. So the Braves had a line on years, and the Dodgers just went the extra year with some extra dough. And the Braves are like, look, we got a line. And that's why Freddie's a Dodger. If everything's all equal with the contract offer, Freddie stays in Atlanta. I think we all know that.
Oh, no question.
Yeah,
no question.
Absolutely.
No question. But I am not, as a Braves fan, I am not a Freddie hater by any stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed he's gone. And Matt Olson's been a fine first baseman. He's not Freddie Freeman, but because Freddie didn't strike out that much. But that's another story altogether. But no, I and again, in this series, I'm not really pulling for either of these teams per se. I still maybe have a little hard spot in my heart for the fact that the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Atlanta Braves in the World Series many moons ago. So, as you know, Terry, I let go of things really.
I know that's the one thing I love about you is you don't hold a grudge at all when it comes to sports. I'll say this. A couple
very
things.
Measured in my approach.
You are, and your maturity and all that is so impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's so. Look, I can't root for the Blue Jays for a couple reasons. A, they're in the American League East, and my Orioles deal with them all the time, and I've got some scars from the Blue Jays too. And two, I'm an American, Jay Phillips. I am not rooting for the Canadians. All right?
That's understandable.
So, here's the thing. Is anybody on that team actually Canadian?
Every one of them. Hey, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., great Canadian.
Yeah.
Dante Bo Bichette.
Freddie's parents are Canadian.
That's right.
Freddie was born in the States, but I think he played for Canada in one of the baseball classes.
I think you're right. A good poll by you, sir. I'd forgotten about that. I want to get this out real quick before we leave this World Series conversation. The real unsung hero, and this is why I love postseason baseball. The guy no one's going to talk about, the great Will Klein. Will Klein. And Will Klein started his career in Kansas City, pitched in Oakland with the Dodgers this year, threw in 14 games. Man's got a career ERA of over 5. Will Klein took the ball last night while we were all asleep and threw 4 scoreless innings at the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Think about that. The Dodgers were almost out of pitchers, man. Will Klein saved the day for the Dodgers last night.
I mean,
remarkable pitching.
I'll say Toronto's offense kind of ran out of gas after the 12th inning, but from the start of the game until the 12th inning, it was some really, really great high-level baseball being played last night. It was something really worth seeing.
It was fun, man. And another big inning, a 4-run inning early in the game. Was the third inning?
3. They scored 4 in the 4th.
In the 4th, yeah.
4 in the 4th last night.
But they've had so many big innings. Other than that, Dodger pitching has been excellent. But that you could have a World Series game go to extras, tied at 5, and then go 9 innings with 1 run scoring, and it's a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 18th.
Insane.
That's remarkable postseason pitching.
Last night was insane. And by the way, who takes the ball for the Dodgers tonight?
Shohei.
The guy that went 4 for 4 last night with 2 home runs and 4 extra base hits is going to get intentionally walked.
He's such a great story. I will always have my allegiance to the Braves, but as I've told you many times, I don't have. Some people do have something against the Dodgers. They see the Dodgers as a National League Yankees. I get it because they have gobs and gobs of money, but look, they're the Yankees and the Dodgers. I mean, what are we going to do? They've been the Yankees and the Dodgers for forever. They've always had gobs and gobs of money. It's just the nature of where they play and the kind of fans they have and the draw that they are. But I love Dave Roberts. Again, I love Freddie. The Shohei story is awesome. Maybe I am kind of pulling for L.A., Terry. I'm just not. I'm not going to rah-rah it. I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't win.
Right. Remember, Jay Phillips, you're an American. All right, 803-404-6100. Gene has been waiting patiently. Gene, thanks for holding. You're on the postgame show on the game. How you doing?
Good afternoon, fellas. I talk to y'all regular. I just want to make a comment.
Sure.
Jay, I love that. I love this university. I love this football team. I loved Coach Beamer. Can you please explain to me what happened Saturday and I want you to hear the whole thing, when you play 58 minutes with a defense that you've called, give up one touchdown in 58 minutes, blitz in the corner from the backside, getting to this quarterback. Every play, he is rattled. He can't even hit an open receiver. And with 2 minutes to go and you go up 8, you play prevent defense. You're 3-4, Jay. You're 3-4.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to keep from losing the game? Go win the football game.
Oh, Gene, we appreciate that, Gene. Thanks.
That's a fair point, Gene, because Alabama did methodically go right down the field and score that touchdown. So I that they shifted things up. I get it, Terry, but at the same time, dance with who brung you.
The other thing, too, Jay, though, to be fair, Alabama was doing a lot of, shorter, quicker stuff to get the ball out of Ty Simpson's hands on that last drive, too.
They knew, again, that's fair to say that they knew they had to change something, too, and it worked. I mean, again, I want to give Alabama full credit for being who they are, and that kid's been electric this season.
Absolutely. Gene, thanks for the call. We always appreciate you. We'll jump back in here a little Jay or nay next on the postgame show. Jalen and Jay and Terry Ford here on the game. Quick check on the traffic. We have some accidents to get to. Highway 60 at Columbiana Drive. Also, I-20 westbound at US 378. That's exit 61. Kelly Mill Road near Stallion Drive. Also, St. Andrews Road at Ashland Road as well. I-20 westbound Monticello Road, exit 68. I-77 southbound at Bluff Road, exit 5. Let me start over. Highway 60 at Columbia. We have some accidents to get to. Highway 60 at Columbiana Drive. Also, I-20 westbound at US 378, exit 61. Kelly Mill Road near Stallion Drive. St. Andrews Road near Ashland Road. A couple of accidents have been cleared. I-20 westbound before Monticello Road, exit 68. And I-77 southbound at Bluff Road, exit 5. Oh, I'll get some Jay or nay here on the post-game show in a second. First of all, Jay, let's update and refresh our start bench drop, my man.
Yeah, some Halloween candies. We're only a couple of days away. It's hard to believe that it's all like just crept right up on us. So, saw on the Today Show the top 5 candies. I picked 3 of them. Reese's is the number 1 ranked candy, but also M&M's. 2 varieties of M&M's were in the top 5, the plain and the peanut. And then the regular Hershey bars were in there, and Snickers. So that was your top 5. So I just kind of blended the M&Ms. So whatever M&Ms you like, peanut, plain, peanut butter. They probably got something else these days that I'm not aware of. M&Ms, Reese's, Snickers. Somebody hit me and said the Reese's Pumpkins hit. Yeah, they do.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what's crazy? Like, I'm dead serious about this. To me, the original Reese's Cup is like my 3rd favorite kind of Reese's treat, behind the egg at Easter.
Egg's awesome at Easter.
And the pumpkin at Halloween, because there's more peanut butter in it.
Absolutely. They're phenomenal, man. I'm with you.
That's what I like. I love the original. I'll just go ahead and say, because I told you my starter was easy. I'm starting the Reese's Cup. I would always start the Reese's Cup.
Yeah, I see. I love all these. You know, I'll tell you right now, really quick, not to cause people, because I don't want to take this down another road. I love candy bars. I know you're stunned by this watching me eat at SEC Media Days. I love candy bars. The only 2 candy bars, and I'm okay with them, I don't hate them. My 2 that if I'm dropping in general are 3 Musketeers and Milky Way.
Yes.
Besides that, I mean, I'm crushing zeros, dude. Whatchamacallits. I don't care, Jay. I love candy bars.
Yeah. I love whatchamacallit. That was my favorite in high school. I've now switched from that to, like, the Take 5.
Oh, Take 5 is so bleeping good.
And that pretzel in there gives it that little salt.
Yes.
And,
Take 5 is awesome. So I love all 3 of these. I'll tell you about my start is going to be the peanut M&M. Because I love Ryan Brewer and I were sitting here going, dude, I will shoplift a convenience store for peanut M&Ms.
Listen,
that's my favorite M&M too.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good, so good. Okay. So we'll get to our start bench drops. All right, Jay or nay, hit it, Jalen. Give us some music. Sure, a little gong show. All right, ready? ESPN, put out the reasons that Brian Kelly failed at LSU. They have 5. You're going to give me Jay or nay on these 5 reasons. Either you agree with it or don't agree, okay?
Okay.
Number 1 reason Brian Kelly failed at LSU, according to ESPN.com, the CEO approach not effective in the hands-on SEC.
Ooh, golly. I'm going to nay that one. I don't agree with that. I think Nick Saban proved you can be a really solid CEO. I guess he was hands-on too. I'm gonna nay that one, but I guess I see where they're coming. I guess I see maybe he wasn't hands-on enough as a CEO, perhaps, but
makes sense.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, what else we got?
Couldn't crack the coordinator code. Went through a bunch of coordinators in his time at LSU.
Well, I'll J that one because I think he's very demanding, and again doesn't seem to take enough self-responsibility for when things go wrong. So yeah, maybe people just don't want to. That's J.
Never seemed to fit in.
Jay. That's easy enough.
Yeah, the fake Cajun is still the best.
That's easy enough. Well, I think Brian Kelly tricked himself in that respect, Terry, into coming to Baton Rouge and believing, well, these people hired me for a reason to come in and be me, and not really having a full understanding of what not just football means, but what LSU football means. Listen, if the Saints went away tomorrow, very few people in Louisiana will care. If LSU football isn't good, everybody in Louisiana cares.
Absolutely. And this will be the last one. Portal Hall raised expectations.
Well, Jay, I mean, they did go out and spend what they said, 13, 18, what was it? On roster additions. And the irony there is that you've got so much talent in state, you need to do a great job of keeping. I mean, again, kids dream of playing for LSU, maybe more than they dream of playing for almost any school for where kids grow up, other than Georgia, Ohio State, LSU. Do they kind of corner the market on kids growing up dreaming of playing for them? So yeah, I would say that. And again, going back to the first one, I get it, but did he stand so far back, Terry, that it was more of an arrogance of like, hey, I paid you to do your job. I'm going to play golf. See you tomorrow.
Right. Out of those reasons, all of those, I think that one we're talking about, the CEO thing, is the least of the reasons he got fired.
Yeah,
that's just me.
But the fit in part matters a lot to those people. It matters a lot around this whole part of the country.
And you know what,
really,
Jay?
It really matters to them.
And you know what? He didn't try to fit in. I think that was one of the big problems.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. 59, ready to help you out. It's fire season for a lot of people now, right? Whether it's a beautiful outdoor fire feature or a fantastic indoor fireplace, but you're tired of the wood burning. You don't want to worry about having to always have a stockpile, right? Or you don't want to worry about the bugs and the spiders or the wood getting wet and popping all over the place. Now's a great time to stop into a Palmetto Propane Hearth and Patio Home Store showroom and see these fire features they have. Amazing propane and natural gas fireplaces for inside the home. And again, they're right there. See them, feel them, look at them, and know and think about what it would look like in your house. Outdoor fire features as well to keep your guests and your family nice and warm when you're still outside. You know, put on a little sweater, toasting some marshmallows. They can get that done for you. They've got Palmetto Hearth and Patio Home Store showrooms throughout the Midlands. Log on to palmettopropane.com and find one near you today.
Quick check on the traffic. We have some accidents to get to, a couple. Hugie at Gervais, also another accident, Leaphart Road near US 378 at Sunset Boulevard. And also, like we said, our typical long-term construction, I-126 between Hugie and I-26, I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road. That's exits 108A to 125. I-20 between I-26, exit 64, and 65 at Broad River Road as well. Coming up, We'll get our 5 o'clock news sponsored by our good buds from Integrated Media next here on the Postgame Show. All right, it's time to check our 5 o'clock news sponsored by our good buds from Integrated Media with our correspondent in the field, Jay Phillips. I will hand it over to you, sir. I have to go. It's time for my community service.
I believe you.
You only know what that said. After knowing me for 4 years, you go, yeah, Tara, I get that.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything since you brought it up. But don't worry, Tara. We're all pulling for you.
I know you are.
Yeah, it is 5 o'clock news time. Shane Beamer speaking as he does on Tuesdays ahead of the next Carolina football game. This time it's Carolina at Mississippi, 7 o'clock on Saturday night from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. The Gamecocks currently 12.5-point underdogs to the Rebels, 54.5 the over-under. And the FPI from ESPN gives South Carolina a 19% chance to win this game on Saturday. Here's Coach Beamer opening his presser with his scouting report on Lane Kiffin's Rebels.
Just year after year, the way they just continue to just be one of the top teams. It's impressive. Credit to him. I was texting with another SEC coach about a week ago that had played Ole Miss this season, and I hadn't seen a whole lot of Ole Miss on tape at that point other than Kentucky because they had played Kentucky before we played Kentucky. And that coach that had played Ole Miss said it's amazing. As good as Ole Miss was last year, they're better this year, this coach that had played them. And then you turn on the tape and you see what he's talking about, the quarterback that has transferred in is playing at a really, really, really high level. The running back is a weapon, hardly ever comes off the field and just continues to produce. Receiving core is dynamic, size and athleticism at the offensive line position and tight end position, great run after the catch skill on offense. Defensively, got a lot of new transfer portal guys that have come in on the back end, the back seven, but up front, a lot of the same guys that we went against last year. Four is a great pass rusher, and then the two tackles inside. It's not every day you line up and play a 6'8", 330-pound defensive tackle, but that's our challenge this week, and that'll be a challenge when we kick field goals too, because he's an absolute weapon on their field goal block team, being that long. So really impressive. Offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, coaching, everything that they're doing, coming off a huge win in Norman, because we know what that Oklahoma team is about. And then we're going into another hostile environment on the road on a Saturday night in the SEC. But awesome opportunity for our guys to go compete and looking forward to the challenge. So.
And Jalen Tart with me now as Terry has rolled off. And Jalen, when you look at this opportunity, again, one of my questions that we'll continue to focus on throughout the week is if South Carolina can use Saturday's experience against Alabama as any kind of motivation. We've talked about it a lot today, that in a lot of these losses, South Carolina has seemingly been right there, only to fall short. Maybe against Vandy and Oklahoma things feel different, but it felt like with Missouri, LSU, Alabama well into the fourth quarter, and certainly Saturday with Bama late into the fourth quarter, you were there. Is that something South Carolina can use, or is that something that weighs too heavily on these guys? How much, to Shane's point, does Mississippi reflect on last year's Kentucky outcome and say we can't have that kind of thing happen again when we're big home underdogs? A lot of those underlying themes that could bubble up to the surface. I feel like I know which way this goes, but South Carolina's got to find ways to motivate themselves.
I think this could go in a multitude of different ways, but I think for Carolina, you're playing with house money here. I mean, you have a chance to kind of ruin the season of Ole Miss where they're on track to getting into the playoff. But if you get a win on the road here, you're getting extra boosted confidence to have to go on the road again to College Station. I think this is a good test for Carolina on the road. You had a heartbreaker at Williams-Brice, and now you get to go on the road to be like, okay, let's go ahead and make a statement for our season and get this win in Mississippi. I mean, I think this is a great opportunity. I think they have a great shot of doing it. They're healthy. They played. They had a great effort defensively and potentially offensively. I feel like this is a good step in the right direction for them to wake up and kind of get the confidence booster that they needed, which was against Alabama.
If you can play that way again, you're in this ball game. I do believe that. That becomes the question. And I think Lane Kiffin, look, I mean, Bama has some limitations, including the fact that they don't run the football as effectively as they would like. And as Shane points out, I think Mississippi does run the football better. And Trinidad Chambliss has just been – look, Ty Simpson has been awesome. But I think Trinidad Chambliss has been that much more special for what his team is doing right now. And as I said yesterday, I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the country, but or the best player in the country or whatever, but I don't have any doubt in my mind that Trinidad Chambliss has become the breakout player, the surprise player in the country. And so finding ways to limit him, because he had let me go back, I think it was 300, hold on, I have it from yesterday's notes, 368 yards of total offense. 368 yards of total offense.
And that was one of my early I was going to say that was one of my early concerns for Ole Miss is how do you improve after Jackson Dart going into the league? And I feel as if they got their answer with Trinidad playing the way that he's playing. His mom is there
and
supporting.
He wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't supposed to. It was Austin Simmons. It was supposed to be Simmons, who Lane kind of, groomed and handpicked to be that guy. And then Trinidad just comes in. And again, 368 yards of total offense at Oklahoma, one of the top-rated defenses in the country. So the kid's impressive. But again, if South Carolina's defense can come to play the way they did Saturday against Alabama, I like their opportunity against just about anybody. Again, not here to pump sunshine, but you've got to find those places. To your point, Jalen, earlier about where you give yourself a little bit of hope. So we'll see. We'll have more from Shane, some longer cuts from the press conference coming up, part of the Gamecock Notebook, in a few minutes. One more from him today, though, away from South Carolina, Mississippi. David Cloninger asked this question, and I think Chappell Fowler of the State Paper had a piece on this yesterday. Chappell covers Clemson for the State Paper. But, look, Carolina and Clemson are always going to play one another, but they actually, many of you may not know this, they actually sign a pretty short series of agreements in terms of when they're going to play. It's kind of a standard business practice, but there's nothing to be worried about. But of course, Clemson comes to Columbia next month, but they'll be here in 2 years as well. And there is in the contract, and Clemson has signed this, there is the possibility in Columbia in 2 years of playing on either Thanksgiving Friday or the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Shane was asked about that by DC. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I saw that. That was news to me. Those are questions. I got more important matters to worry about right now, not when we're playing Clemson in 2027. Those are conversations, David, that Coach Tanner and I had, 2 years ago, before the 23 season? 23 season. There was talk about us potentially doing that. There was talk about the possibility of that happening last year. So I know it's been something that has been talked about at different times. I know Dabo has talked about it, his feelings, my feelings. I'll always want to do what's best for the fans. I think it's great from an exposure standpoint because it would be the only game on. Everybody in the country was watching that Georgia Tech game last year that was on Friday night, including me, who stayed up way too late watching that game before a 12 noon kickoff at Clemson the next day. And I'm assuming our players were all up late, but you have the eyes of the country Friday night prime time. So there's a lot of positives from that standpoint. Certainly, we're respectful of the high school programs that are playing playoff games on that weekend, potentially, or most likely, not just in South Carolina, but around. So I think there's a lot of different dynamics, but ultimately you want to do what's best for your team. You also want to do what's best best for your fan base. And I think there's a lot of, positives in it, and there's some drawbacks in it as well. But that's something that, Jeremiah and I haven't even discussed, and that's down the road. So I don't think I really gave you an answer. I'm kind of indifferent towards it, and I see the positives on both ends of it.
So there you go. Again, nothing imminent at this point, and that probably wouldn't be something that was decided until sometime, I don't know, Jalen, maybe even over a year from now. Again, next year's Clemson game in Clemson at Memorial Stadium will be played on a Saturday. That is guaranteed. I forget the date, but anyway, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, whatever date that is next year in Clemson. But 2 years from now, possibility at Williams-Brice of a Friday night game. I've said before, I wish rivalry weekend was the weekend before Thanksgiving so that kids could be on campus and then go home for the break and not have to worry about getting back, and then everybody could have that, and maybe you have conference championship games over the Thanksgiving weekend. But until they do that, Jalen, Shane makes a great point. If you could showcase yourself on a Friday night where there's relatively few, if any, college games. I think the NFL's playing on Friday now. But if you could do that and set yourself up for a bigger audience, I'd be for it.
Yeah, I'm for it as well. My only thing is, like you said, the NFL, they're moving towards having games on streaming platforms for the holiday seasons. And with that, that's going to do crazy numbers. And my only concern is, number one, the fan turnout. How will, fans, students specifically, they're, not everyone lives in Columbia. So how would you get people to come back to support a game in the middle of the week during the holiday season? And two, it's an uncertain right now, but is Dabo Swinney still going to be at Clemson? Is the other factor that people are not really thinking about with, it's been talks of him in the middle of the season wanting him out, and he's been saying publicly that, he's here to stay. So I don't know what the future may hold with that. Will he still be there? I don't know. But I think
if I had to bet on it, I'd say yes. Okay,
and that's fair. That's fair. But I would like to see a Black Friday Clemson-Carolina game. I would not mind that.
Yeah, but I'm with you. And just real quick, and I know we're in the news portion here, but I remember years and years ago, I think when Bobby Robinson was the AD at Clemson and Mike McGee was the AD at South Carolina, ESPN came to him and said, hey, if y'all want to play on Thanksgiving, we'd be more than happy to set you up with that. And Bobby, I think back then at least, said, listen, Thanksgiving's for family, and our kids, our kids leave. And of course, the environment in Columbia and the environment in Clemson in terms, nobody lives in Clemson, or you know what I mean when I say nobody, but the vast majority of folks don't live in that town and in Pickens County. They live elsewhere and travel to campus. Columbia is a little different because a lot of kids that go to Carolina do live in the greater Columbia area. But at the same time, Jalen, to your point, there's plenty of kids that live in Jersey or Maryland or Pennsylvania or Georgia or Charlotte or whatever. And it should be a family week. And so Bobby always said, nah, we're just not interested in that. I think Mike McGee was a little more interested in that. And, of course, now everybody plays Thanksgiving weekend, so it doesn't matter anymore. So, how do you set yourself apart? Again, I'd go back to rivalry weekend before that, but for the kids. It is still college football after all, but I'm not sure that matters as much these days to a lot of people. But we'll see. But anyway, Shane commenting on that. So the potential of a Carolina-Clemson game in Columbia in 2027 on Friday or Saturday of Thanksgiving, and that'll be determined, again, I don't know, next year sometime probably. In the meantime, the Saints have announced that Spencer Rattler is out as their starter. Tyler Shook from Louisville, who they drafted last season, will start this weekend. The thing is, Rattler has not been bad. This is just not a very good football team. Spencer Rattler completing 68% of his passes, 1,586 yards, 8 touchdowns. He does have 5 interceptions. He's also run for 167 yards. He doesn't run often, but he's averaging better than 5 yards per rush when he does take off. But they were not good at all against a very aggressive Tampa defense on Saturday. And Shook came in for Rattler, who did struggle. I will not say anything differently. Shook was not great either when he came in. 17 of 30 for 128 yards and 1 pick, but he came in when the team was down 17-3. I think a lot of this is about how bad the New Orleans Saints are. And there were a lot of folks who thought this might be the worst team in the league. So for now, at least, Spencer Rattler is out and Tyler Shook in as the starting quarterback for the Saints. And real quick, finally here tonight, Game 4 of the World Series after an 18-inning thriller last night, 8 o'clock is the start time in L.A. with the Dodgers up 2-1. Shane Bieber is on the hill for the Jays. Shohei Ohtani, who had a magnificent evening last night, will start on the hill for the L.A. Dodgers. 8 o'clock tonight. L.A. looking to really extend their lead now. That's the headlines. Gamecock Notebook next. All right, welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on a Tuesday. It was a bruise day. It still is, technically. Ryan was in the house a little bit earlier. Jay Phillips working from home for a couple of days. Terry has stepped away for the rest of the program. Jalen Tart at Master Control, just a couple of miles that way from where I live, down in the Herndon Chevy Studios. Appreciate all of you being with us. Start bench drop today. Top-ranked Halloween candies. May do some more of this with, like, I don't know, like fruit-flavored candies later on, but these are all more of a chocolate variety. But in alphabetical order, M&M's, any kind. Because, again, the top 5, y'all, the top 5 was like, it was like Reese's, and this was on the Today Show. That's where I got this. Reese's, then it was like plain M&M's, Hershey bar, peanut M&M's, and Snickers. I think that was the top 5. So I just blended M&M's.
Into
one category, and I moved off the Hershey bar. No disrespect to the Hershey bar. It's a fine. You know,
I'm not a big Hershey bar fan. The only one I like is the cookies and cream. That's the only one I.
Well, I like a Hershey bar if it's on. You know, if we're making s'mores, right?
Yeah.
You got to have a regular Hershey bar, or if you want to dip a Hershey bar in peanut butter, I'm totally down with that. But just, you know, when it's just by itself, I'm not. I need my chocolate to have something else.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yes, that's very fair.
So, but anyway, M&M's of any kind, Reese's Cups, Snickers. That's our start, bench, drop. Phil says start the Snickers, bench the Reese's, drop the M&M's. And Robert says start Reese's Cups. Pumpkins are elite. Again, I agree. Bench the Snickers, drop the M&Ms.
Wow.
And Brandon just hit us, said start Snickers, bench M&Ms, drop Reese's. We'll get to a few others a little bit later on. Gamecock Notebook time now, though. And, again, Shane Beamer press conference earlier today from down at the facility ahead of Carolina's trip over to Oxford. We saw some things go differently in a positive way by and large for South Carolina's offense on Saturday. Still only, mustering up 22 total points. But Shane was asked today, all right, you said you wanted to pare things down. Take us through what it's like to simplify your offense.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I think that, for one, it's the volume that you take into a game plan with. So let's say that, I don't know what NFL teams have. I think most NFL teams on their call sheet probably have 100-plus plays available to call on a game. I'd say most colleges, when I was at, Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, we usually, that little, sheet of paper that you see him on the sidelines with, that thing usually has about 65 or 70 plays. And I'd say that's what most colleges are from a play call standpoint. We're no different. We did last week we talked about just, shrinking that number a little bit. It wasn't drastic. It wasn't like we went from 90 plays to all of a sudden you got 40 to choose from. I mean, I think it was maybe 10 less than what we had, 15 less than what we had against Oklahoma. When you do that, you're able to, practice it versus more looks in practice and things like that. Defenses, the schemes you may get. It's certainly Lenoris every week, not just last week, Jack, but every week Lenoris has great ideas. Luke has great ideas. Those guys are up here all the time watching tape at night on their own and coming up with ideas that they bring to Shula or they talk to me about. And so that's always part of the process. So it's simplifying the number a little bit. It's getting input from players like we always do, the offensive staff together. And then when I talked about the 10 best plays, I was really referring to, we have openers. I think Mike talked about it last week. It's not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here's the 10 plays we're going to call to start the game in a row. But here's the openers. We know what the first play is going to be, and then how we kind of roll after that. And my statement to the offensive staff last Saturday morning in our staff meeting was, and I'm looking at these openers of our top, 10 to 20 plays. There's some really good stuff in here because of what we're doing schematically that we want to do. We want to spread them out a little bit. We want to throw the ball down the field. We want to move the pocket. And I said something along the lines of, we got 20 plays here. To me, we could just keep calling these same 20 over and over again because this is really our best stuff. And so that's what I was referring to on that one.
Look, 20 might not be enough, Jalen. And again, you do have to keep defenses honest, and even if you're trying to be more creative or do things to keep a defense off balance, eventually, especially at this level of football, a defensive coordinator, will adjust, and players will be able to pick up on a few tendencies down on the field to relay to their coaches about what to look for. So I understand that you can't just run the same ones over and over. I joke a lot, Jalen. Mm-hmm. I know you haven't been working with us as long, but I joke a lot about the old Nebraska teams of Tom Osborne in the 80s and 90s, and I feel like they had a dozen plays. The thing is, you couldn't stop them. They would just run them over and over and over and over and over and over and over in practice, and you just couldn't stop them. I may not be too far off, by the way, from a dozen plays, but in today's world, you can't do that. But I like hearing Shane talk about, putting the guys in the position to get it done, and I think that's what fans want to hear more of and see more of as well. Is all right, if you know it, why aren't you doing more of it? And whether they're trying to, or the plays are getting blown up, I think there's a blend of those two things. But it was better to see, I guess, a game plan and a scheme that did seem to be a little bit more creative throughout. Again, I had a couple of places, as you heard me say yesterday, where I thought they were still kind of going right back to that very vanilla well. But I'd like to see more of what Carolina does best with their talent through the remainder of these games to give them any kind of chance at something they want to do, after the Clemson game.
I think 20 is a good set number, but for me, it's like if the defense continues to stop the plays that you feel like are your, quote, best, you got to have some type of, plan B of something that they're not prepared for that they can also not stop. I think, like what we've been saying throughout the week, there wasn't a whole lot of creativity at the end of the Alabama game to kind of keep Alabama on their heels. So I'm kind of interested to see now how much more creative can they get going on the road, knowing it's going to be a hostile environment. And I do, if don't break what's already been fixed. I think if it's working for you and it's working at an efficient rate, I would just, like you said, I would just keep running it over and over and over again until it can be stopped. But until then, just, keep running the ball, keep passing the ball, and do what you need to do.
Something where they can, and if something they can spread the field, if you can find, an empty set. Now, Shane talked about that a bunch, having an empty set and having some tight ends there for that mid-level spot and sending some guys deep, but forcing the defense to play man. Eventually, these kids can get open. So then it comes down, as we know, to, okay, is the protection there? And again, whether it's the best or worst scheme, if it's getting blown up in 2 seconds because, your line has been penetrated, your quarterback is running for his life, I don't know how much it matters. And again, that's not me making an excuse for anybody. It's more of a literal truth about where South Carolina is when it comes to protection up front. So, I don't know how much more creative they can really be, but I know that's one reason you want to roll Lenoris out. You want to, but you need more quick hits. You need things. So basically, I guess the point from a lot of fans and what you and I are saying too. Hey, if you're getting blown up in 2 seconds, then what do you have to get it out in 2 seconds?
Right.
What do you do to counter that? And I'm not sure Carolina has done enough of that in these last few ball games.
And I like real quick, I do like what they're doing with Jaden Sellers. I do want to see more of the freshmen get involved. We've seen spurts of Donovan Merther in that first series where he caught a 30-yard pass to set up that field goal at the start of the opening drive. Mix it up just a little bit more so that you can keep defenses on your heels. And I would kind of argue the same thing for the defense, to make it a little bit more harder for the opposing offense to try to score points on you.
Yeah. That's a good point. Drive around the SEC on the other side. That's our Gamecock notebook for today. Greg Sankey does not want a particular rule change to go into effect in college athletics. We'll tell you that and look ahead to the weekend when the postgame show comes back.
Near Stallion Drive, St. Andrews Road near Ashland Road. A couple of accidents have been cleared. I-20 westbound before Monticello Road, exit 68, and I-77 southbound at Bluff Road, exit 5.
Tuesday, Jay Phillips and Jalen Tart with you here the rest of the way. So we'll start with this one. Last week, the NCAA rescinded a rule that that prevented current student athletes and current athletic department staff members of any member institution from gambling on professional sports. You still can't gamble on collegiate sports, but they did a change in the rule to allow for pro sports betting. Greg Sankey has now come out against that. He says the message of our presidents was clear and united. This policy change represents a major step in the wrong direction. He continued, quote, on behalf of our universities, I write to urge action by the NCAA Division I Board of Directors to rescind this change and reaffirm the association's commitment to maintaining strong national standards that keep collegiate participants separated from sports wagering activity at every level. If there are legal or practical concerns about the prior policy, those should be addressed through careful refinement, not through wholesale removal of the guardrails that have long supported the integrity of games and the well-being of those who participate. Sankey also said he thinks the integrity of competition is directly threatened when anyone with insider access becomes involved in gambling, and he said the SEC is equally concerned about the vulnerability of its student athletes. I'll read one more quote here. The SEC's presidents and chancellors believe the NCAA should restore its prior policy or a modified policy communicating a prohibition on gambling by student athletes and athletic staff regardless of the divisional level of their sport. While developing and enacting campus or conference level policy may be considered, the NCAA's policy has long stood as an expression of collective integrity, and its removal sends the wrong signal at a time when the gambling industry is expanding its reach and influence. So this is it's interesting, Jalen. I get where they're coming from, and I don't disagree with it. Look, as I've said many times, I don't bet on sports because I like to keep my money where it is, get used for other things, because gambling on sports is hard, and like any other kind of gambling, you lose. But if you want to gamble, gamble. And I've said one time, I have bet on sports one time in my life. It was the 1997 Final Four. I was on my honeymoon in Vegas. I bet $20 at the Mirage Sportsbook on Minnesota to win the Final Four. They had the longest odds. That's why I bet on Minnesota. Probably a dumb bet. It was. I lost $20. I don't know what $20 is in $2025, but I'd say the $20 then is about $50 today.
Yes.
But I've played a couple of hands of blackjack at a casino and spun the roulette wheel a couple of times or whatever. And again, if you want to go do that, do that. I'm certainly not here to play morality police, and that's not my lack of interest in gambling is because I have a heavy interest in my money, all right? Not because I am morally opposed. At the same time, I feel like where the SEC is coming from here is a protection of student athletes and integrity. But, Jalen, the problem is simply that it is so accessible now.
Yes.
And you know kids are doing it anyway. Again, I don't want them to have any kind of access or ability to bet on college sports, because that could be really problematic. And I think this goes beyond some things we do and even looks at maybe the prohibition of prop bets. Certainly, I would love to see prop bets go away in college sports. I genuinely would, because that's where kids can be gotten more than any other place, in my opinion. But I think this is a really big ask for the SEC to have the NCAA say kids and staffers can't bet on pro sports if they're not directly tied to them. I get where they're coming from. I don't think it'll happen.
I'm like you. I do not put money that I don't like giving away. And I love my money, so I just don't do it. My question...
It's too hard to come by to begin with.
Exactly.
Right?
My question is, what is the ACC saying? What is the Big Ten saying about this? We're only hearing from Greg Sankey. James Phillips, the commissioner for the ACC. I'm interested to see what he would have to say. Does he agree with Sankey on this? If he does agree, I feel as if they may see something that we're not seeing. But at the end of the day, too, I think it is very accessible. There are a lot more apps in terms of betting and doing what you need to do. I would just keep it at the professional level and never have it enter the collegiate level. If that's just my honest opinion on that.
Yeah, and the thing too, man, it's not only the apps, your FanDuels and DraftKings and such, and the MGM folks have an app, but now I think gambling, and I don't want to be misquoted, so I think there's only 15 states now that don't have some form of sports gambling. That's been legalized. And even if your state doesn't have it, you may have a Native American casino in your state that allows sports gambling. So, again, it's just the accessibility is there, and a lot of people like it. And like I said, if that's something you want to do, that's up to you, man. I'm not going to go gambling is wrong. I'm not that guy. I am not that guy. And we joked a few weeks ago when the NFL Today on CBS had their throwback show, and I was like, it took me until I was, starting, in middle school or high school to realize that old Jimmy the Greek, was there not to just talk about football. He was there to tell dudes who were, walking down to the corner store, how to bet on the Giants and the Eagles, man. I didn't know what they were doing back then.
Yeah.
So the point, and again, everybody's newspaper printed the lines every day on whatever games were going on. Well, if you can't gamble, then why are you betting the lines? Well, because everybody was already gambling. So, I get it, and again, I'm not against it in that sense, but you make a good point too. I almost wonder if the SEC. I'm sure Greg, before he went this public, and again, this is not Greg doing this on his own. He speaks on behalf of 16 presidents or chancellors.
Mm-hmm.
But did he call the other conferences? And you'd have to think he did, and say, "Hey, we're coming out with this. How y'all feel?" And they're like,
"Yeah,
not right now, Greg." That's what I think.
And I would just, like I said, wait until the other conferences have put out a statement or have come out publicly. Now that basketball is coming around, it's probably going to be more bets being placed with basketball and everything. But I'm not against it. It's just that for me, that's an area that I'm really not interested in doing. But if you want to go make your money, being confident in an outcome of a sports game, be my guest. But me, I'm just not. That's not me.
No, I especially in football, man. That's a weird shaped ball that bounces funny sometimes.
Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Your team could get blown out. It could be a nail biter at the end, and then when it doesn't go your way, your blood pressure's through the roof. I don't want to go through that at all. Yeah.
Or you lose one game, you're like, oh, I'll just double down on this one. I know I got that one, and then all of a sudden, So again, I just. I'm going to keep my money where it is. Real quick, Jalen. Vandy at Texas. Maybe the marquee game of the weekend. Georgia, Florida is always a big one, obviously. The cocktail party. Georgia, 7.5-point favorite. But Vandy at Texas is Texas minus 1.5. But there's some feeling, speaking of numbers, that this may swing towards Vanderbilt. Are you surprised by this line right now? Vandy at Texas minus 1.5.
No, because me personally, if Texas wins, they clearly have a good shot of getting back in the playoff.
Yeah,
hopefully.
It's a must-win game. Look, I think Texas. I love the Vandy story.
Yes,
and I thought Vandy would beat Missouri. I was a little more 50-50 on LSU, but Vandy going to Austin, I don't think it's wrong to expect Texas, if Texas is going to be Texas, to win this football game. So I'm not surprised that Texas is the early favorite. But I mean, if you're going to do it, you know, Texas, you really, this is a must-win game. But,
yes,
you know, they should. That's the way I feel about it at this point. And again, Vandy's a hell of a story.
I'm also looking at Miami at SMU.
SMU getting 12.5 at home.
Yeah, that is eye-popping right there. But
yeah, I think that number comes down too.
Yes,
I do. If that was down in South Florida, maybe. Although that's not much of a home field advantage. Anyway, that's our drive around the SEC on this Tuesday. I believe Jalen has a little Jay versus the internet for me on the other side.
I do.
Let's do it. All right, welcome back in. Final few minutes of the Tuesday post-game show. Jay Phillips, Jalen Tart with you. Terry stepping out a little bit early. Thanks, as always, to Ryan Brewer, who joined us for Brews Day. He did drop the news on us that for the first time in more than a decade, the Brewer family haunted trail will not be happening this year because between a football trip and a women's soccer trip for one of Ryan's daughters. Family first, man.
Yeah,
I get it. That's cool.
And they're doing sports, so
that's right. That's I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But it was a lot of fun, and it'll be back. He said it'll be back. Real quick, we'll do our start bench drop for you again. Today's start bench drops from the top ranked Halloween candies. M&M's, Reese's, Snickers. Franklin says start Snickers, bench M&M's, drop Reese's Cups. And let's see here. We got one that says just we're dropping M&M's. That's all. All right. So that doesn't give me a starter or a bench. So good luck to Snickers and Reese's for that guy. All right, I'm starting Reese's, Jalen.
Okay.
Again, my absolute favorite when it comes to this kind of candy, and maybe my overall favorite. If you said you got to pick one forever, it might be Reese's. It might not. I don't know. But of these three, definitely Reese's is my starter. This one's tougher though because I do love peanut M&Ms. I'm not a big original M&M fan. I love peanut M&M, and I love Snickers. They both have peanuts though. Snickers just has that extra caramel and nougat and whatever else.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes you just want a little something. So I'm gonna actually. This is hard. I'm gonna bench peanut M&M, and I'm gonna drop the Snicker. I feel like I got my Reese's for that extra, but sometimes you just need a little something off the bench. So that's gonna be my peanut M&M.
I will start peanut M. Listen, anybody that knows me, I am a sucker for peanut M&Ms. I'll put them in the freezer. I'll put them in the refrigerator, room temperature, whatever. As long as it's not melted, I will eat peanut M&Ms all day, every day.
Right.
Reese's, I will bench. I do like the taste. Like when you bite into the Reese's, it's just the satisfying taste of a Reese's peanut butter cup. Perfect.
Yep, I'm down with that.
Snickers, I will have to drop. I like Snickers. But it's, again, the caramel in the middle. I'm not a really big caramel guy, but I don't mind a Snicker, but I would go without it. So for me, peanut M&Ms, Reese's, and Snickers.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. Appreciate everybody weighing in today on that one. We'll have some more Halloween fun. All right, Jay versus the Internet.
Let's get to it.
Your first go. So what do you got for me, my man?
All right, so Jay versus the Internet. Kennesaw State versus UTEP. Kennesaw State minus 10.5.
Oh my gosh, is UTEP that bad?
I don't know.
Do we know where this game is?
I can look to see right now.
Well, hang on. Let me see if I can get there real quick. I'd love to at least know if it's 10.5. I'm almost going to lean UTEP. Just giving them 10.5.
Yeah, UTEP at Kennesaw State.
Oh. All right, give me the Owls. Give me Kennesaw. Give me Kennesaw minus the points at home.
Cool.
Minus the points at home. Yeah.
James Madison versus Texas State. James Madison minus 6.5.
All right, and that's at Texas State. I see now. I got that pulled up.
Okay.
James Madison minus. Okay. Give me JMU.
Okay. Last one. JMU Texas State over under 55.5.
Oh boy. Wow. Let me see what JMU's been scoring here real fast. Here I go to the last 5. They score some points. Give me the over.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
And that's Jay versus the Internet for today.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
I'll say this. I was going to say this yesterday, but shout out to DeCarrion Joyner for getting his jersey retired over the weekend. Well-deserved. So saw it on Twitter, and it was a great turnout for him. So I'm very happy that he got that done. And the Broncos and the Colts, they're on fire right now. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, Jonathan Taylor. Listen, I was a fan of Daniel Jones, and it really began to bother me his last season in New York when everybody would say he's terrible. I'm like, man, the Giants are terrible. This kid is good. You need to put him in an environment where he can thrive. Shane Steichen has found that. Jonathan Taylor has been amazing.
Yes.
And that Colts-Broncos game, was a thriller at the beginning of the season, man. So it could have gone either way, but these two teams are playing well. And again, my Broncos had a big win against hapless Dallas defense, man. So we'll see. Jalen, good work, buddy. See you all tomorrow. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff, man.